medication. We didn't hear a word from the Red Cross that is so worried about the people in Gaza, but we didn't hear any word by them demanding to be allowed to visit our hostages over there, to be allowed to bring them the medication, nothing. We're still in a situation that rockets are being launched at us from Gaza almost on a daily basis, but not only from Gaza, also from Lebanon, also from Syria, from Yemen, even from Yemen. This is not a war with the Palestinians. This is a regional war masterminded by Iran. Iran is sitting back and enjoying what they are seeing, sacrificing the people of Gaza, sacrificing the people of Lebanon, all of them for their Islamist goals, nothing to do really with the Israeli-Palestinian issue. Just before I started to talk to you, maybe half an hour before, there was an anti-tank missiles attack from Lebanon, not from Gaza, from Lebanon by Hezbollah. They took responsibility on Israelis. People from the electricity company of Israel, they're coming to fix cables that were damaged before by Hezbollah attacks. 6 Israelis were wounded. One of them is in a critical condition, 5 very badly injured. One of them is 80 years old. You might ask, well, how come 80 years old is still working in the electricity company? Because so many of the Israelis are being drafted to the army right now to fight the war in Gaza. So many others are volunteering to fill up their positions. So this is our reality. But when you're opening the media in Norway, not all of it, most of it, you wouldn't realize. You'll just hear what Israel is doing in Gaza. Only 5 weeks, and everybody forgets. Not everybody, I'm sorry about it. We're having a lot of friends like you, others, also some people in the media showing dignity and trying to really to cover the story as it is really. But too many are showing again only one side of the picture. Israel is being the aggressive one. Israel that is not willing to have a ceasefire. You know, we were marking this week 85 years anniversary of the Crystal Night. 78 years after the Holocaust, still not too many people are denying the Holocaust. In many countries, when you're denying the Holocaust, this is a criminal offense. But 5 weeks after the atrocities of Hamas, so many people are already denying the atrocities of Hamas. Some are even claiming that this is a fabrication by Israel, that Israel was behind it. Not only around the world, also over here in Norway. The head of mission of the Palestinian office, so-called embassy in Norway, was saying that civilians were not harmed. This is all Israeli propaganda. She was saying it publicly on Votland. I know about some other ambassadors, Arab ambassadors, that in closed rooms, in closed circles are saying that it didn't take place, that this is all about Israel fabrications. Last week, Lina Khatib, the head of Palcom, was invited for a meeting with the foreign minister over here in Oslo. I respect Norway's freedom of expression. This is fine. I recognize the fact that in Norway you can burn the Quran, and this is legal. I respect the fact that people in Norway can say that Hamas are freedom fighters, even though the Prime Minister was calling them a terror organization, and compare them to Nelson Mandela. But no one that will be calling to burn the Quran will be invited to meet any of your government ministers. So why is anyone that is comparing those jihadists that are behind the atrocities, calling them Nelson Mandela, why is she invited to meet your foreign minister? There's a difference between freedom of expression to the ability to normalize such things. It should be condemned. She should be condemned. And we know how much you cherish the UN. UN had to be really the lighthouse of the free world, the lighthouse of the civilization. But when the Secretary General of the UN is claiming that the atrocities of Hamas were not happening in a vacuum, he's normalizing those atrocities. No Secretary General of the UN was saying before that 9/11 didn't happen in vacuum. No Secretary General was saying before, ever, that the attacks on Madrid, on London, on Bataclan in Paris were not happening in vacuum. So why is it only when it has to do with Israel, they're allowing themselves to say such things? Why we didn't hear any word of condemnation for the brutal rape of Israeli women by Hamas, anything from the UN Women Organization? Why do we don't see the same obsession of the UN Human Rights Council as if they are obsessed with Israel on those atrocities, on this crime against humanity? You know why not? Why not? Because 70% of the members of the UN Human Rights Council are dictatorship countries. Something should be changed. Israel, I'm going back to Iran, I'm going back to Lebanon, to Hezbollah, with all the proxies of Iran. The second Lebanese war in 2006 was over with a ceasefire that was achieved by the UN, Resolution 1701. Resolution 1701 is saying that no force beside of the Lebanese force should be southern to the Litani River. Right now, the Lebanese army is not south to the Litani River. The one that is south to it is Hezbollah, with 150,000 rockets aimed towards Israel. UNIFIL is there as well, in order to ensure that UN resolutions are being enforced. I do realize and understand that UNIFIL cannot really do anything against Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a very well-trained army, 100,000 people that were fighting 5 years in Syria to assist the Iranian regime, to ensure that Assad is staying as a president, butchering hundreds of thousands of innocent Syrians. So UNIFIL cannot face them. But the UN is not saying anything. We've been attacked almost from day one since this war started by Hezbollah. This is an agreement that was achieved under the UN. At least that UNIFIL and the UN will condemn it. They're keeping silent. You know when it's going to be condemned? You know when the UN is going to become active? When we will take actions against Lebanon. Then we are going to be condemned. Then we are going to be called to agree to ceasefire. Then they will say that our actions are too much. Yes, the Hezbollah was hitting you, but yes, your action is too much. Israel has the right to defend itself like any other nation. Like Norway was sending forces all the way to another continent, to Afghanistan, to fight Al-Qaeda. There's no difference between Al-Qaeda and Hamas, between ISIS and Hamas. We have no fight with the Palestinian people. We gave them a long time to leave Gaza City, because in Gaza City they are serving as a human shield for Hamas. Hamas is hiding beneath hospitals, Hamas is hiding in schools. We even found Hamas tunnels in amusement park. This is Hamas. They are saying it clearly. They need the blood of the kids, the women, for the spirit of revolution. What kind of a revolution? Islamic revolution. This is what they want to achieve. They're sacrificing their own people. For 3 weeks, at least, we are asking them to evacuate Gaza City. For 3 weeks, we're trying to achieve ways to ensure that hospitals are being evacuated in order for us to go into the headquarters of Hamas that are beneath the hospitals. For 3 weeks, are being condemned for it by the UN and other international organizations. We cannot return to 6th of October. We cannot return to the reality that, as Hamas is saying, that they will try again and again and again to repeat 7th of October until they achieve the goal, which means putting an end to the existence of Israel. We need to go and to dismantle Hamas capabilities, both militarily as well as government capabilities. This is not about revenge. This is about our ability to continue to live in our country, the only Jewish country in the world. We'll do it. But when the UN and other international organizations are telling us, no, you cannot go to the hospitals, basically they're telling us you have to give up on your freedom, on your safety, on your life. This is what they're telling us. We were asking them to assist us to evacuate in a most peaceful and safest way to evacuate the people in need, to establish new hospitals, field hospitals, other hospitals, maybe by on ships just on the shores of Gaza, to allow those people to get treatment, not to risk their life, but to allow us to go after the Hamas headquarters. They didn't call Hamas to stop to use them as human shield. They were condemning us. So now when we are around the Shifa hospital, the main headquarters of Hamas, we are in direct touch with the hospital, with the hospital director, to ensure that we are being able to assist them to evacuate those hostages. They are hostages as well. The Palestinians are also hostages of Hamas, to evacuate them peacefully and safely, to get treatment in a place that is not serving as a human shield for Hamas. We are being blamed for not standing by the international law. I want to assure you one thing. Israel is doing its utmost to act only and only within the limits of what the international law is allowing us. We are also doing everything in our possibilities to ensure humanitarian conditions in Gaza for people in need. Yes, I know it's not fun to be evacuated from your home. It's not fun to be in shelters and in tents. No, it's not fun. But this is a war, and war is ugly and war is hard. But it's better to be in shelter and tents in southern part of Gaza than to be serving as a human shield in Gaza City, human shield for Hamas infrastructure. This is why we need them. We need them to live in order to go to a safer place, not to punish them. And according to the humanitarian law, Israel do not need to assist in any way to the humanitarian assistance to Gaza, not at all. The humanitarian law says that what we need to do is not to prevent others from supplying humanitarian assistance. So not only that we don't prevent others from doing so, we are actively involved in assisting humanitarian assistance to the people in Gaza. We established together with the Americans the Egyptian trilateral mechanism that supplying food, medication, and water to the people of Gaza. Every day, we're having dozens of trucks going into Gaza. Today, it's almost 100 trucks that are going every day into Gaza. We hope that people in Norway, media and others, including government, will realize that the status quo that was on 6th of October cannot continue. We cannot allow Hamas to continue to govern Gaza. We also need, the media has responsibility also for, I would say it might sound, a bit too much for some of you, but I really believe that the media had a role in this huge wave of anti-Semitism that we're seeing all over the world. When the media is reporting Hamas lies as facts, those are the results that we're seeing. When the media was reporting on 17th of October that Israel was behind the bombing of the hospital in Gaza, because this is what the Ministry of Health in Gaza was saying, and the next day, the very same night, not the next day, the very same night, anti-Semitic attacks started immediately all over the world, from Australia to the US, all across the Arab countries, all across Europe. What is the Ministry of Health in Gaza? What kind of a government do you have in Gaza? Hamas. Those that are burning the babies. Those that are raping the women. This is the government in Gaza. This is a reliable source of information. And then when President Biden is saying that Pentagon was investigating it and it wasn't Israel, this is not enough. When the French intelligence is saying that this is not Israel, this is not enough, then the media is saying, well, now we have two versions. No, you don't have two versions. You have a terror organization, and you have the leader of the free world that's saying that his defense authorities were checking it independently. How can you compare between the two? So we are in the situation that we've never been since the establishment of Israel. We are back to Iran. We are back to the War of Independence. We have to dismantle Hamas. Because if Hamas exists, this is a real threat for our future existence. Because this will be a message to Hezbollah, and this will be a message to the Houthis, and this will be a message to the masters, the Mullah regime in Tehran, that you can go into Israel, tie parents to the kids with wire, burn them alive, and the world is okay with this. And the world is demanding from Israel to have a ceasefire. We cannot agree to this. We realize that there's a lot of demonization about Israel going around, a lot of criticism as well. But we are on a fight on our independence in our own life. And we are strong, and we will win, and we will overcome it. But we need you to stand also not only by us, and we appreciate very much that you're standing by us, but we need you also to stand by the Jewish communities all over the world, because for them it's going to be much harder. We saw the anti-Semitic rallies yesterday in London. It's not about Israel, it's about killing Jews. We saw a rally out of the Opera House in Sydney, where people are chanting not only kill the Jews, but also gas the Jews. Gas the Jews. This is happening in Western countries. Yes, we're seeing good reactions from different governments against it, but those are sentiments that are happening in the streets. 100,000 people in London, from the river to the sea. What does it mean from the river to the sea? Where is Israel? Where is Israel if Palestine is going to be from the river to the sea? This is the situation that we are right now over there. But as I said, we are strong, we will overcome. But I really want to say how much we appreciate, because I'm talking about the negative parts of it, I'm talking about the criticism about Israel, but we've seen in the last 5 weeks, warm-hearted support that coming from so many parts of the Norwegian society, definitely from organizations like MIFF, definitely from people like you, definitely from other friends, traditional friends of Israel, but we're seeing a lot of support that is also coming from people that were never there. They were not involved really. But they know how to make the difference between right and wrong. And I'm saying, right and wrong, it's not to take sides necessarily for us or against the Palestinians. This is not what I'm saying about. People can still have solidarity with the Palestinians, this is okay. But Hamas is the absolute evil. And with this, we cannot compromise. And no one can ask us to have ceasefire with Hamas, as no one was asking to have ceasefire with ISIS or with Al-Qaeda. So I want to take this opportunity to thank MIFF for having me over here today. And again, to apologize for you that I couldn't join you for this weekend, but I want to thank you for your support and active support during those 5 weeks. I hope that the war will be over with our complete win against the Hamas. But I want to thank you for your support for so many years for Israel and your friendship. So thank you very much. Yeah, now I can hear.
And we have a record audience of a MIFF conference this year. More than 200 people have joined, and we are all resolved more than ever before to stand with you and to support Israel and the Jewish people. So MIFF have had around 11,000 members now for 3 or 4 years, but the last 5 weeks we have welcomed more than 2,000 new members, and many people. When I asked the crowd here yesterday who are attending a MIFF conference for the first time, I think almost half of them raised their hand. Let's do a quick test again. Who are here for the national conference of MIFF for the first time? Raise your hand. Look at that.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah. So you have
it's really emotional for me.
Many new people getting educated and being involved. Do you have time for a couple of questions?
As much as you want.
Yeah. Let's say that Israel succeed in eliminating Hamas. Will this eliminate the threat, or will it just prepare the ground for Islamic Jihad or similar groups?
Well, we know that when we're going to be able to dismantle Hamas, and we're saying to dismantle Hamas both for military capabilities and government capabilities, it doesn't mean that we'll be able to get rid of the Hamas idea, the jihadist, genocidal ideas, that is global Islamism. They're talking about Caliphate. This is not about the Palestinian issue, but this is about Caliphate. This is why it's important at the end of the war, there's going to be a mechanism that will ensure that whoever is going to govern Gaza will be strong enough and will have the support, security support to ensure that even if the ideas are there, they cannot establish again such a military power as an organized power that they've been able to do. You cannot prevent 100% terrorism act from taking place, but you can definitely ensure that nobody is being able to build such a capabilities of military capabilities as they did.
How has Israel's relations to Qatar changed from the relations 3 years ago? Just to remind everyone, there is still time for a few questions. If you want to send the questions by SMS to 950-81882. Yeah. So, how has Israel's relations to Qatar changed now after the 7th of October?
You know, Qatar is playing a role right now in trying to bring to the release of the Israeli hostages from Gaza. So this is right now the most important for us, the most important goal for us. We have two goals for this war. One is really release of the hostages. Second one is really to dismantle Hamas capabilities, as I said. It's too early to draw conclusions from what was happening on 7th of October. There will be a lot of questions that we'll have to ask ourselves regarding what happened in 7th of October, what went wrong, who to be blamed, both internally and internationally. Also to see, you know, which country was standing by us and which countries were really failing us. So I guess it's also about Qatar. At the end of the war, we will have to evaluate our relations with Qatar. We definitely have to evaluate, you know, the activities of Al Jazeera, that, you know, Hamas is praising Al Jazeera. So if Hamas is praising them, you know that they are part of the problem and not really serving media as they should. But this is still the stage that we are still fighting to win this war, and evaluation will be done at the end of it.
So many friends of Israel have been disappointed by the stance and rhetoric of the Norwegian government for the last 5 weeks. What has been the incident that has disappointed you the most? You are allowed to mention.
Well, Norway was the first country to condemn us already on June 13th for, and as I say, you know, international law is not about feeling or assumptions. International law is about facts. So Norway was the first Western country to condemn us, on 13th of November or October already. Norway was the only Western country to condemn Israel in the summit in Cairo and not to call for the release of the hostages. They did so before, they did so after, but not in Cairo in the summit. And Norway was the only Nordic country to support the UN resolution that was not calling again, condemning Hamas and failing to mention the release of the Israeli hostages, not like all other 5 Nordic countries. So this was definitely disappointing for us. And yes, we are hoping that, as I said, you know, I realize that some things are lawful, like hanging the Israeli flag with swastika in the middle of Oslo. I realize that it's part of the freedom of expression, but the fact that it's legal doesn't turn it to be moral, and we are hoping that the Norwegian government will condemn it, and it didn't happen until today.
What will happen? So now Israeli military forces have basically won control over the north of Gaza. What will happen to the south of Gaza? Since there is probably a Hamas military installation and Hamas soldiers there as well.
I'm afraid that I'm not aware of, the military plans, and I guess that they're taking into account that if you want to eliminate Hamas capabilities, both militarily and government capabilities, you have to deal with them wherever they are still existing. But I'm not with any idea about what the army is planning.
We have three questions more, and then we will have to close. So you don't need to send any more questions now. Do you have a comment about the Ministry of Foreign Affairs advising the Norwegian king not to send condolences to Israel after the 7th of October?
I'm not going to go into relations between the government and His Majesty the King. I respect each country has their own ways of doing it, but King Charles did send condolences, King of the Netherlands, Queen of Denmark. So I really believe that they're saying that it's part of a political conflict. I think that what was happening in the 7th of October is that this was the worst atrocities since the Holocaust. But I'm not an expert on exactly how the regulations are here, and I respect, the relations between the government and His Majesty is the relations between the government and His Majesty. It's not for us to be part of it.
So there, we have two questions regarding Turkey. What about Turkey? Your ambassador in Ankara returned to Israel, and now there is a lot of attention on the threat from Hamas and Hezbollah. What about the threat coming from Turkey?
There's no real threats coming from Turkey beside the rhetoric of Erdogan, and we are used to the rhetoric of Erdogan, and they are hosting for a long time. They are hosting, Hamas leaders in Istanbul. But this is Erdogan. I mean, we are used to it. He was attacking Shimon Peres already in Davos, and he's attacking us the whole time. He's a Muslim Brotherhood guy, so it's not surprising. It's disappointing. Yes, he's a prominent member of NATO. It's disappointing, but there's no real threats from Turkey.
Yeah. And
I guess that the Turkish are too busy militarily in occupying parts of northern Syria and Iraq, and so probably they don't have time enough for us.
Last question. What do you believe the long-term endgame will be in the region, and specifically in Gaza?
It's too early to say because we are busy with the war, not with the endgame. But we said we have no intentions to go back to Gaza. We left Gaza in 2005 in order not to come back. We left it as a flourishing area to the Palestinian government. But unfortunately, the Palestinian government was failing to Hamas after 2 years in a bloody coup. So basically, we left Gaza before, not in order to go back. And I just hope that whatever is going to be there afterwards is going to be not corrupted, peaceful, and not allowing again a terror organization on behalf of Iran taking it over. It should be strong enough.
Thanks a lot, Avi. We know you have busy days. We won't take more of your time. If you do have a time, you can join us now by ending this conference in singing Hatikva. There is a hope. We will change screen now. So the audience won't see you anymore. I will make you. Can you see the audience now? Yes. Let's stand, and we will have some lead singers. Jan, are you here? And Charlotte, would you also grab a mic?
I apologize for my voice in advance.
Noen må filme, men bare gå på her, dere. Ja.
So
Avi.
Thank you all.
Yes.
It's really warming our hearts.
Thanks a lot. We will go back. We will send the letters to our politicians. We will send the emails to our media. We will support MIFF's work than ever before. We will support other humanitarian causes in Israel that people in the audience already know of, and they will seek out new organizations to support. Those of us who pray for Israel will pray for Israel. Those of us who have contacts in the Jewish community in Norway will show them that we are their friends. So you can count on us.
I appreciate it very much. I thank you very much, Konrad, to you, to MIFF. I see what you're doing the whole time, those all 5 weeks and before. I appreciate it very much. And to all of you in this gathering today, really, it's warming our heart. It's important for us. It's important for us to know with all those hate that we're receiving, that we are not alone, that we also have so many friends and so many new friends. Thank you all. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Jeg må bare stoppe her, så.